All right, a pleasant good morning to you, and welcome to Night Moves for Monday, December 22nd. Thank you for joining me here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. There we go. Get a little square in there. Thanks a lot for joining me here tonight, covering the action here for Monday, December 22nd, after a wild night, a wild day of action in the NFL on Sunday. Man, we've had some crazy finishes all weekend, didn't we? Probably get another one tonight with the 49ers taking on the Colts. Stay tuned. We'll preview that one. We'll also take a look at the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Who wouldn't want to get a bunch of French fries dropped on them in the middle of December? And we got holiday week basketball as well. Early games here. Not a spectacular card, but a busy one for a Monday, including day games, and there's 4 games on the ice after some exciting action in the NHL. NBA and NHL weren't shy of holiday week, and load up with games until the final hours here. So good to see everyone here joining me on Night Moves. We'll get to the previews here in just a moment. Let's let a few folks roll in here live so we can have a good flow and a good show. But first, maybe I can recap some of the action from Sunday's NFL. We did have some winners. I was able to come home with a couple winners here with the early card at Tony'sPicks.com. I had the Browns plus the points as a premium pick. We also had the over in that game yesterday with the Bills and the Browns, as Buffalo survived the scare, edging Cleveland 23-20 behind a monster day from James Cook, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns as the Bills move to 11-4. We also brought you the winner here on Night Moves last night with the New Orleans Saints over the Jets. They rocked them there yesterday. Why not when can you take the Saints and lay a bunch of points when they're playing the Jets? We did that yesterday. The Saints dominated 8 sacks for the Saints in that one. Brought home a winner here on Night Moves with the Buccaneers-Panthers game, as we did have the Panthers as our winner there yesterday. Yeah, the Panthers in the big win over Tampa. Look, Tampa can still win these last 2 games, and they'll be in good position, but they're going to need to beat Carolina in the rematch here in 2 weeks after yesterday's game, where the Panthers are able to get that victory. What a wild game too. Tampa went up in that game 10-3, led 17-3. Panthers came back to take a 20-17 lead, and then Carolina stunned Tampa with that late game sealing interception after they had taken a 23-20 lead late there in that one. We also had the Chiefs and the Titans game to go under. Who didn't? With the Chiefs, but man, Uncle Rico went down with an injury there, and they had to bring in the third stringer, if you think about it, with now Mahomes out and Minshew out for the season. Those teams are done, but hey, the Titans got a much needed victory in that one, and we had the under with the Chiefs and the Titans. Also had the winner here on Night Moves with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, they snapped the Broncos' 11-game home winning streak. Did they expose the Broncos as a pretender? Trevor Lawrence, 279 yards and 3 touchdowns. He got sacked 5 times by that Denver defense, but they just had more offense and put themselves in such good position time and again, even against that tough Broncos defense there. So, also brought home a winner here on the show last night with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said, that this is a game that if Pittsburgh, this is a good situation for them. Okay, Detroit fans, they thought they had a miracle until they didn't. The Lions' game-winning touchdown was wiped off the board there in a little bit, controversial fashion there, certainly with that finish, and Pittsburgh got the win 29-24. Wasted a huge day from Jared Goff, but hey, I was saying that you'd see Pittsburgh put up some points in this one, that it had a real chance to be a high scoring game, and we did have the Steelers plus those points. Even if they would have lost, they would have covered, but what a big win for the Steelers, and that led right into the Sunday night game where we gave you the over here with the Patriots and the Ravens late night. It did go over there with the Patriots. A great game, 28-24 in the nightcap, and a big win there for the Patriots. Crucial loss for the Ravens. Jackson went down in that game with a back. You could see him get hit in the lower left back. He couldn't return. That's okay. Snoop Huntley was good. It kept him right in the game, but it was the Patriots who went down there and got that crucial score there at the end of the game for the 28-24 victory there for New England, and keeping the pressure on, especially after Denver got rocked there in that game against the Jaguars. So a couple other ones where we rolled the winner here in last night included the games here. Want to mention the games here anyway. We didn't include winners on the show, but my Chargers with a win. Going to mention that they made a statement win, blasting the Cowboys 34-17. Herbert carved them up. 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He even ran one in. He was running all over the place, actually. And that puts the Chargers as the top AFC wild card. Hey, say what you will. I'm not taking a victory lap or anything, but 11-4 put the Chargers in there. Harbaugh's the man to turn this program around. Even he can overcome this what the bad organization that they have. Put a guy in here like this, and Chargers here. The defense also delivered when it mattered on multiple fourth down stops, and that when Joey B returned, lit up Miami there yesterday. The Raiders showed up for once and hung in there. Wow, Raiders almost were able to pull one off against the Texans, but the Texans got that important victory. So as it stands right now, the NFC, we already know 6 of the teams in the NFC: Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, the Rams, the 49ers. Meanwhile, we're waiting on the Panthers and the Packers, or could we see the Lions or the Bucks get in there? Obviously, the Bucks have that still good chance. I mean, Bucks win the last 2. That's pretty good. That's what they're going to need. And over the AFC, only one team is totally in here at this point. And that would be the Broncos. Patriots, Jags, Steelers, Chargers, Bills, and Texans in line to get those playoff spots. Ravens here, still quite on the outside looking in at this point. And that's going to be a problem here with not only because of the fact that Lamar went down, but we'll see if he can come back here for 2 games. They're kind of toast. So are the Colts. They'll play tonight against the 49ers. We'll talk about Monday Night Football. I think that's about it. Saw the Falcons and the Cardinals. Didn't mention that one there, but let's get rolling with the show right now and get ready. We're going to preview this whole cards. Thank you for joining me here on Night Moves. Let's see who's in the chat here a little bit. Thank you for being here. Yeah, now we got a couple dozen of you in here. Let's roll in this one. Mr. Weskers is here today. Greg is here as well. We did have some winners here on the show last night in the uh, NBA anyway. We had the over in the Bulls and the Hawks game. um, I thought it went triple overtime or something. 152 to 150 was the final in that one. We had the under and the Raptors and the Nets. They barely got to 200 points in that one. Did they even get to 200 points? We had the winner here on the show in that one as well. And we did have the winner, Rockets and Kings. It went overtime, so the late game went overtime, and the Kings did a nice job there to upset Timmy Tushu. Nice to have you in the chat, and also Cal Dog here with us. I think that might be the crew. Hector Numba. He said y'all laughed at me on the Raiders. Raiders got that money there. Says he could have tripled his money up if they would have won the game. I think he's with Stan Don Biz. Nice to see you, Stan, in the chat as well. Michael said, lost on that last NBA game again. Oh no, Michael, what happened? We were on we had the over here on the show last night. Michael, what happened? Okay, and I think nice to have you here. Okay, let's get ready. Let's go on the show here right now and get ready for Monday Night Football. First and foremost, there is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl as well, and that's a day game, but we got to preview Monday Night Football. And man, what an interesting game here between the 49ers and the Colts here on Monday night in Indy. The line's a little wrong there. I've had this thing typed up for a couple days. 5.5 here currently. That's how long I prepare for the show. 5.5 and 46 right here with the 49ers and the Colts. So at least shows you a little bit of a real-time move here. So let's talk about it. Get your opinions in the chat as well for this one as we get ready to take a look at tonight's game here at Lucas Oil Stadium here on Monday night. You'd have the two teams kind of going in, I don't want to say opposite directions. We know the Colts here are hanging on, but again, they've, kind of just squandered their whole season here. Not necessarily their fault. I mean, you got to feel like if Daniel Jones was still in there, the hiccups that they've had. The talk about Richardson coming back, I don't think it's necessarily a blowing smoke. One of the things that the Colts are experiencing a little bit, it might be too late now, obviously, and you're going with Phillip Rivers here tonight, but they said that there's some real, when you bring a guy like Phillip Rivers in, he's really working with these guys. Remember, he's a football coach first and foremost right now, and I don't think nobody thinks there's I don't know, maybe ungenuine in the fact that, Phillip never cusses out there or he's Mr. Goody Two Shoes or whatever, but pretty real dude if you know him. I've interacted with Phillip quite a bit. He used to come in and play poker when I was dealing back in the day. When he was 1 year, he got injured the whole season. He'd come in every week while he was walking around in his boot. Couldn't really do much. I think he's a pretty cool dude, actually. But the Colts are looking to snap this losing streak right now at home in a must-win game, no doubt. Make no mistake. But still, even if they win, they're going to be hard-pressed to make the playoffs. So really, this is just about getting through here and maybe coming up with one more win. All you can do is, win the game and hope for the best here. The Colts right now, just an 11% chance if they win the game, 5% chance right now, 2% chance to make the playoffs if they lose, and their fate won't even be in their own hands here at this time. But nonetheless, they're going to be home trying to rebound from a late season slump. Remember, they were 7-1 here. San Francisco, meanwhile, comes in 4-game winning streak and, just dominant as a road favorite this year for the 49ers, 6-2. Between Purdy and Jones, and really the big problem for the 49ers, kind of crazy, right? Because I was on a show earlier today, and it was ironic that one of the guys that I partner up with, I had talked about it too on some other shows, that The Niners look very, very interesting in the range of 15 to 18 to 1 right now to win the Super Bowl. I'm not necessarily picking the 49ers to win the Super Bowl, but their path to the Super Bowl is becoming a bit easier and a little bit more in focus. And remember, the Super Bowl is in San Francisco this season, but I just thought they provided a lot of value, and this handicapper agreed with me, and or I agreed with him too. He's the one that brought it up, but I had already placed a futures bet on the 49ers at this price range. So look, their problem is their defense, right? But they've got such a good organization and front office that they're actually able to piece in new guys. Look, you're never going to be able to replace the guy in front of you, but they come through a little bit with still quality guys, and I really think that they are still in a pretty good position here. Now, this is going to be a tough game, actually, for the 49ers, no matter how you look at it. Just going into Lucas Oil here, the Colts are pretty darn good. They are 4-1 against the spread as a dog this year, 4-2 against the spread at home, 6-1 straight up at home. So I think they're still kind of all right in this position, especially getting almost a touchdown here in this game. Now, Phillip Rivers, it's painful to watch, especially a big Phillip Rivers fan like I am. I told the story here last week, but I think it's worth telling. I mean, I saw Phillip Rivers on his second day of practice in the NFL. Of course, we knew him out of North Carolina State. The Chargers drafted him. I was with a friend at the Chargers practices for his rookie season. We were ready to see what we had with this guy, and because we felt like he might be some. We went out there, man, and we were totally impressed. Maybe that's why I've been a fan of his for so long and the career that he had. So, look, right now he's out there shot putting the ball. I can't make it up. You probably have seen it already. It's painful to watch, but here's a man who's totally aware of his surroundings in the pocket, if you will, has all the rules of the game down, knows how to get rid of the ball, throw it away. Is he susceptible to interceptions? Yeah. But the 49ers problem really right now is the defense this season in general, because of the injuries that they've had. A lot of injuries. Some of the best players in the league are out of the 49ers lineup almost all the second half of the season because of the defensive injuries. And it's reflected somewhat now, not lately, but they did hammer a couple of, Carolina and Cleveland like you're supposed to. And they clobbered Arizona too. They beat Tennessee. This is a weak schedule they've had here during this 4-game winning streak, no doubt about it. But it's only helped them kind of build up this record at 10-4. So I still think it's going to be tough. The Colts, obviously, with a staunch running game coming into this one. And, Phillip can get it done. These receivers are actually pretty spectacular that the Colts have, from Michael Pittman to Downs to Pierce, who's definitely going up and getting the ball. San Francisco's pretty decent at guarding ones and twos in the skill position, and the Colts, that's they have some shortcomings too. Jawan Jennings could get going here a little bit. Again, the 49ers, their receiving core is a little bit short too here. You're going with Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne. Kittle certainly is a top target, and the Colts are not very good at defending tight ends. So maybe that's a little bit of advantage as well in this one, at least for the 49ers offense here. But you got to figure this is a close game, man. I mean, look, I'm saying the Niners are pretty good. Watch out, maybe even taken for the Super Bowl. But are they really a touchdown favorite over this team that's had a pretty darn good season? And it's only kind of ended because of the injury to Jones there a little bit, and then you had to go with a subpar quarterback. You still look. I can't sit here and tell you that Phillip is going to totally do it here. But 49ers been beating up teams. Just mentioned all those games there. You got a guy like Purdy in here. Niners 5-0 ATS is a road favorite. 12-6-1. Nas 19 is a road favorite. We'll mention just 7-10 against the spread against AFC teams. 3-11 against the spread after a win. But their recent dominance as a road favorite kind of plays into the script a little bit. But again, you kind of get lost in these non-conference games a little bit when you're not playing in division. You've already clinched here if you're the Niners, and you're probably not going to go up, right? You're trailing the Seahawks here and the Rams at this point. So, yeah, you'd like to pass the Rams if you can with 2 games and get as high as you can. But, I don't know if I'm not saying there's not a lot to play for. You do want to try to get in there and get a home game there if you're be the top wild card, but that might be tough too. We'll see. So see what you have in the chat if you want to comment on the game here between these two. Colts have lost, I said, 5 of their last 6. No TDs last week. They lost to Seattle 18-16, and Rivers, that was his first game in 5 years. So they are, as I said, pretty good straight up at home. 7-6 ATS is a home underdog. Their last 13. Last 4 games, their total yards, don't look at it, man. Basically averaging about 250 yards in their last 4 games overall. But Colts, just like the 49ers, 6-13 against the spread against non-conference competition, and they haven't really played that well when they played the Niners over the years. But they have won the last 5 series matchups, though, I think. Let me see. I was thinking long term. Yeah, 4 straight over them. Okay, you got me there. The last one was back in 21. Long term, the 49ers have the edge because that's all time. But Colts straight up home strength, I think, is real here. And I'm going to take the Colts in this one to stay in the game here. Look, you got guys like McCaffrey, Kittle, and Purdy to push them over the hump here. It feels like right now, and get this win for sure on the road. But I just think the Colts bring a little bit more to the table than just a 44-year-old quarterback here. So let's see what you got in the chat with me. I appreciate everybody here joining me on Night Moves tonight for a good Monday night game. Go to the chat here, say hello to some more folks also coming in. And who else is here? Hector's on fire. He's ready to go. Let's see here. Trying to find the plays. Here we go. The Incarnate. Love that. The Incarnate. That's the Bay Area, I think, right there. Is that the Bay Bridge right there? Incarnate over 49ers money line and over 46. And Hector likes the Colts money line. Easy. Old Gaffer coming to us from the UK this morning. Thank you. And Michael says he likes Rivers, that the Colts, they can turn around that momentum. He says Colts have momentum. I mean, I don't think he means that, maybe Rivers bring a little bit of energy. Obviously, the Colts have been losing these games here of late. Tough schedule, KC, Houston, Jacksonville, and Seattle. You could argue that, those teams are pretty rugged. Even the Colts, they did cover against the Colts, if anything, even though they lost that game to them. And Mr. Wesker's right. And also, though, Mr. Wesker's Shane Steichen. I remember these guys were together in San Diego, Rivers and Shane Steichen. So not just the Colts organization, I think. Because remember, some people were saying, he's going back to the Colts, but they had a different coach back then. Well, now they actually, I think the familiarity is a little better with Shane Steichen in there. But like I said, this is a tough Niners team. You know it. All right. Any other plays here from you guys? Shanahan here says, look, Mr. West was talking about Shanahan. I just think this organization is, it's all about the moves that they make, right? Even through these injuries, they just keep pumping them in there, putting new guys up, and they come through a little bit. Really bummed to see, my man Fred Warner. I mean, look at if he could be on this team here right now, and the other stars that they've had on defense. Hector says, Mac Jones might be better. He might, Hector, but gonna have to make a decision with the Niners too. Purdy's the man you're paying the bigger contract too. There's no reason why these guys can't, maybe stay together here. It's kind of interesting here and where Jones is at in his career. I'm sure he would like to be the man, right? All right, and let's see, under for Michael in this one. Mr. Wester's Rivers is throwing a knuckleball out there, right? A floating duck there. And you know what? They weren't too far off from that when he left, too, right? Jennings TD, Purdy interception, 24-20 says Greg. We don't know which side, but he likes a 4-point game there. All right. Let's see here. Michael says the Jags a good chance of being the AFC champs. I'm still on the Patriots in that one. I think even tonight it helped. Look, that was a loss to Buffalo at home, no doubt about it. I thought that the Patriots would beat the Bills. I got a lot of confidence back tonight with the Patriots. Right now, Diggs looking really great, looking good out there. They had some problems defensively for once, and I'm sure that Coach was tired of seeing his old running back Derrick Henry running all over him a little bit, saying, "Man, I wish I had him back on this team." And the Colts are gonna rock you. Let's see here. Hector does like a little bit of the Jaguars personnel. Good to see you guys in here. 49ers says there. Mr. Western says taking the 49ers against the spread. And yeah, right. He just gets it done with some guys in there that weren't going to be in there, huh? All right, you guys, really appreciate the comments in the chat. I know that ran a little long on that game, but got kind of a short card and a pretty good game here. All right, San Francisco, yeah, it could be stepping it up. Rams and Bills, says Michael tonight. Good, thank you, Michael. Also, Greg says Arizona almost beat the Colts with a backup quarterback, or was that their starting quarterback? I was saying on a stream earlier, there are 32 teams in the NFL, one quarterback per team, right? So you have basically 32 jobs, and only about 15 guys do it effectively, right? Maybe 10 at a world-class level. Talk about a specific job, huh? A pro football quarterback. Taylor over for Timmy Two Shoe. Mr. Wesker says he does like Jones more. Yeah, maybe, but this is what the situation is. They're going to kind of stick with it. All right, C-Mac for a TD, says Stan. Could be a bit of a running back showdown here, right? Hector likes what he saw for. Hey, look, I mean, if I was going to throw a 45-year-old out there, I'd say, hey, at least it looks like that. Right? Somebody said to bring Phillip Rivers back, and they said Rivers in an interview a few weeks ago says that he's been running. He's also coaching high school football, and he said that in his drills, or when he demonstrates a drill, he has to throw left-handed because he can't put his arm over his shoulder anymore. How about the Chargers and the Rams in the Super Bowl? Here's the funny thing, Greg. What happens if both of those teams, no, I don't think they can host it, right? There was something about, but they could go to the host a round game or something that they could have a schedule. They have to make sure, because the Chargers and the Rams might play at the same time, and they might have to bump one of the games because it's all set, the seeds and what day they're supposed to play. There's a reason why the Houston Texans have played the Saturday game in the NFL playoffs when they make it for like the last 15 years, right? Because the teams are kind of slotted in. But the Chargers and the Rams, they might have to bump it a little bit if they end up playing, like if they're assigned the same day at home. Could happen. I believe they said one of the rounds or something like that. Remember, the Chargers are renters, right? Kroenke owns the building. The Chargers, they just rent. So nothing wrong with renters. They just don't own. All right. I think we got through all your comments there that I saw. That thanks a lot, you guys. Ayuk, yeah, what a disaster the Ayuk situation though is, right, Mr. Weskers? All right. That's it for that one, and I'll take The Colts here plus the points. They'll grind it out. This is going to be a close game. Close game. But I like this Niners team, and I like their chances here to maybe pull off some surprises here. It's going to be a great NFC playoffs. Wow. All right, let's go to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl on the blue turf of Boise with Washington State taking on Utah State here. How about that? Washington State comes in here, pretty much a disciplined, defense-oriented team, and well, this is it for this is it for Washington State in their last year in the Pac-2 before they rejoin the Pac-12 there a little bit in a revamped situation with the Mountain West. But Cougars are not really that explosive offensively. They average just 21 and a half points per game, 315 yards per game, but the defense is pretty good, allowing just 20 points per game. They've already beaten 3 bowl eligible teams this season and have covered 6 of their last 8. Utah State, despite they're favored here in Boise. I don't want to say it's a little bit of a home field advantage. I mean, Washington's not coming very far either, but it's at least Utah State's played in this stadium more times. They've struggled here for sure against Boise. They've always lose to Boise there, but they have gone just 2-5 straight up and 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 bowl appearances. You got Bronco Mendenhall. He's very strong in bowls. He's won 4 straight, as a matter of fact, and 3-1 against the spread as a bowl favorite. But usually his teams underperform as favorites when really favored with a small spread going up against. It's happened before. It's like just the situations that he's been in his career kind of lends to, playing in modest bowls here a little bit. I mean, you got 2 teams here, basically 500 coming in. So Mendenhall's just 1-4-1 in these type of bowl games, closely rated bowl games where you're going up against pretty much a 500 team. That hasn't worked out for Mendenhall. So Washington's, I think their defense and they're pretty disciplined, and Utah State just maybe a little bit exposed again in the bowl game here on the road. I mean, this one's going to be I can't believe the total is as here at 49. It has gone down from as high as 53.5. I mean, that's the way it feels like it's going to go. To me, I think it's probably go under in this game. I think it'd be a low scoring affair. Washington State has gone under in 8 straight right now. Utah's gone constantly under this time of the year, bowl season, and the late in the regular season. So I'm going to go under here in this one with Washington State and Boise. Like I said, Washington State just allowing 20 points per game so far. I think the defensive nature of this matchup is probably what's going to be noticeable right away. Cougars, like I said, strong track record against the Mountain West in the past. So maybe they have one more left in them here before they join up. These teams join up in the league together here. Do you guys have anything in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl where they dump French fries on the winner? Maybe they should send the winner of the famous Idaho Potato Bowl to the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And does anybody eat mayo with their French fries? All right, chat. Let's see what you got. Cal Dog, Utah State. Mr. Weskers, Utah State. Greg says here, 27-22. That's a big win for Washington State. This is a pick'em game after all. Zach Rossi, hello to Zach in the chat. Greg says Washington State is underrated and fries are $7, but at least we have 5 guys. They dump all those extra fries in there. Or is it just a ploy? Do they actually put the right number and the containers are too small? Hector says he likes both these teams, but maybe it is going to be an under here between these two at 49. We're not getting the best of it, that's for sure, but I'm going to take the under here in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl at the Albertson Stadium. You could just do your whole uh, uh, grocery shopping at this bowl game. All right. Appreciate it, gang. That's it for the football on Monday night. We've got an NBA card, 7 games here to go over. Let's get ready and cover the action in the NBA here for Monday night. We're in the holiday week here. Wow. On Wednesday, I think we're going to take a day. Might take a day off here from the show, believe it or not, on the Christmas Eve show. We just have the one football game, so maybe I'll enjoy some time. If you don't mind, do you? Here we go. Let's start it off here with the Hornets taking on the Cavs in this one. You got Charlotte on the road here, getting 9 points from the Cavs. Cavaliers, they're still a pretty decent team right now, but they haven't been the best against the spread, that's for sure. Cleveland comes in 15-14. They have lost 3 straight games right now, and their spread record still a dismal 8-21 so far this season, 7-19 ATS as a favorite. Meanwhile, for Charlotte, they're 13-11 as an underdog so far this season. Charlotte's been a steady under for sure. They're under in 17 of their last 24 as an underdog. Cleveland is 5-12 to the under at home, but man, this total of 237, I think, is more reflective of what we might see, it feels like, in this one. Cleveland has failed to cover in 5 straight games right now coming into this one. And Charlotte, providing that road value, it feels like, as an underdog here, even if the numbers don't totally say it. Again, it's maybe more against Cleveland and their inability to cover any numbers right now at this point. Not only that, they have also lost here to Charlotte, lost to Chicago twice, and lost to Washington. That's not exactly something to write home about because, those teams are struggling. Well, they beat Washington, didn't cover. But the Bulls have been struggling, even though they've gotten a few back here. For Charlotte, they beat Cleveland there back on December 14th, 119-111. Charlotte got the win on the road as an 11.5-point dog in this one, and they're coming right back here now just a week later pretty much. So maybe there's quick revenge on this, but Cleveland just isn't covering enough spreads for me. I got to take the Charlotte Hornets here in this one again. I'm going to come back on them and take them +9 against Cleveland. Like I said, both teams are, heavy under, but Charlotte just I know they continue to play slow, but this thing's 237. I think it's got just as much of a chance to reach that number for two teams that are producing pretty heavy unders here. That total's pretty high, and maybe it's high for a reason. Okay, anything here from the chat in this one? Hornets money line for Hector. Cavs have been disappointing. Hornets are streaky, says Hector, but maybe he's going to take them here. Maybe Cal Dog. Hornets and under. Greg Gibson liking Cleveland here in this one, but that's still a Hornets cover, it looks like right there. Zach is on Charlotte. Viral Industries is here tonight. Says Hornets are pretty good. We'll see, right? I mean, they have got a long way to go at 9-19 overall this season, and their 3-11 road record doesn't leave much to be desired, but it felt like they were felt like they were getting a little bit okay last year, and we're back here to square one a little bit. So they'll have to pick it up and impress probably a little bit more right now, but I'm probably willing to take them here. All right, and maybe a little Garland here. All right, and next up. Yeah, the Indiana Pacers is going to take on the Boston Celtics here. Boston 17-11 coming in right now. And, well, for Indiana, they've lost 4 straight here once again. And they're 6-22, still having their problems, not only losing, but failing to cover in a lot of these games. Getting 10 points here from Boston team that is pretty hot. against the number actually here of late. They're in pretty hot form, going 8-2 against the spread in their last 10. Indiana's had some cover success here against Boston. They've actually covered two of the last three meetings between the two teams. This is the first meeting right now between Indiana and Boston so far this season. Boston Indiana games are pretty steady over, that's for sure. I know that this one, look, some of these games right now, though, for Boston have seen the under 3 of the last 4 currently, but this series is kind of an over. I don't know, though. I'm going to go under in this one with Indiana and Boston here. Can't really sell it to you from the Boston perspective, but Indiana is 3-10 to the under on the road. So I think maybe that is the type of game that continues here. And I'm going to go under with Indiana and Boston. Look, Boston is covering at a pretty good clip here right now. They are 8-6 against the spread at home, and Indiana just 5-8 against the spread on the road. And not playing well, but it is double digits. And let's see in the chat. And with Mr. Wester's not laying 10. Hey, Rodolfo Torres is here in the chat. He's ready to go. He wants to hear about the next game already with the Pelicans and the Mavs. Zach says take 10. Mr. Wester says the Pacers going to cover this one. And Greg here has it. I think Greg's kind of saying Boston and under there a little bit. All right. Well, hey, welcome to Rodolfo Torres here. He says, what do you think of the Pelican Maverick game? Well, that's a great question. They've got a pick 'em matchup here between these two teams struggling this season, but the Pelicans are hot all of a sudden with 4 straight wins right now. Oh, man, for all those times where's DeAndre tonight? We'd say, DeAndre, what's going on with these? Here they are, one of the better cover teams in the league right now. These Pelicans continue to be money here. This is a pick 'em right now, but Pelicans usually an underdog all season long. You don't get them even close to this price very often right now at a pick 'em. We are seeing maybe a few -1s. The total here 238. The Pelicans are 11-5 against the spread at home. Dallas is a good cover team as a dog, 13-8. And, Flag, yeah, we're seeing some inconsistency. Happy birthday, Cooper Flag. He's turning 19. Boy, to be 19 and this guy. Yeah, Cooper Flag here. Look, inconsistent, but that's what you're going to get from a 19-year-old, right? Look, he's going to be awesome. And we already talked about the other great rookie you guys mentioned in the chat, Con Kneppel. He's really been, he Kneppel too, a couple weeks there, you're like, oh boy, sometimes it's a struggle for these youngsters, but then he comes through with some strong performances. So look, New Orleans has been hot with this money here, and Dallas, they're a decent cover here for sure, but still just 3-8 straight up on the road. New Orleans is 5-12 straight up at home, makes it a little bit difficult as well. But hey, I can hear from you guys. The Pelicans' perfect spread run here right now, I think, is really something to consider right now against a inconsistent Dallas team going on the road here. So maybe we can hear from you in the chat. You got 4 Dallas here. Flagged is on the injured list here with a questionable tag of his back, but he's been pretty durable. Clay questionable, and Christie questionable as well for the Pelicans. Herb Jones is questionable for this one, but I'm going to take the Pelicans here in this one. They're on this great spread run right now. Dallas has done a nice job. They did lose to Philly last time out on the road. They've been pretty busy. They were at Utah, came home to play Detroit, went to the road and played Philadelphia. Now they're coming back down here to New Orleans, still on the road here. but New Orleans just really sharp on this run, beating Portland, the Bulls, the Rockets, and the Pacers, and with this nice cover streak right now. Both teams kind of trend towards the over for sure, especially New Orleans at home, 13-4 to the over at home, and that does that. I don't know. I think it's 239. I'm not worried about it. I think I'm not calling for the over necessarily, but I don't think it's going to be 220. I think it'll be, if it doesn't go over, it's going to be in the mid to high 230s here with this matchup, I believe, here tonight. These two teams, though, have played under in 3 straight games. They met back on November 21st. It was just 118-115. Dallas won at home. They also won back on November the 5th at Dallas. New Orleans won just 101-99. I'm going to take the Pels. All right, we got some in the chat as well. Mr. Wesker's on the Pelicans. And Timmy Tushu says the Mavs are going to put a stop to this Pelicans madness. Greg likes Dallas to win it here. I think he's leaning under. And Viral says go over, I think. I think Viral wants to go over. And let's see here. Dallas, too many weapons right now for the Pelicans. Well, I mean, with Davis not on the injury report, that's good news. And obviously with Flag in there, and I don't know who else you're looking at. Washington and Marshall. For New Orleans, obviously. Beyond Murphy, you got Sadiq Bey, you got Queen. He's definitely done a nice job, man. Talk about these guys have been overlooked a little bit. Queen's done a really good job. What a find. What a draft pick there for New Orleans. And Jeremiah Fears, too. There's promise. There's hope. And, man, we wish we had DeAndre here to talk about it. Okay, Mavericks here for Cal Dog. Mavericks cannot close. Pelicans here maybe for Zach. And the Pelicans for LALV. A little bit of revenge here for Dallas for that matchup there a month ago. Rodolfo says he likes the Pelicans as well. Parlay it with the Bulls. I think he means the Bulls. What does he mean there? The Bills? Or maybe parlay them today with the Bills. Okay, LALV liking he's back on the football game. Andre in the chat. Nice to have Andre. Hornets money line, maybe he says. Greg says Dallas coming off that loss to Philly, 121-114 in a near pick'em game. All right, I'll take the Pels here. Jazz and Nuggets NBA action here for Monday night with Denver Nuggets coming in off of a loss here. Denver with a loss to Houston, 115-101. Utah missing one of their best players here, expected out tonight. Lauri Markkanen, he's questionable right now, so maybe Markkanen can make the lineup here. He's he's a pretty durable guy for sure. Missed only 3 games so far this season, but definitely a groin injury is not something that he wants to be ready, obviously. But for this one, between the Jazz here and the Nuggets, Utah in a bit of a funk right now in this series anyway. 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 meetings with Denver. And Utah's covered 4 straight right now. And when they're getting these double digits, it hasn't been too bad, although they did get blown out at home by OKC. In fact, the 4 covers that they had were all by single digits. Wins over Memphis and Dallas as short favorites. Medium favorites maybe, and also covering against the Lakers and Orlando at home as an underdog in those games, but they did lose. Denver, meanwhile, despite the loss to Houston, a good Houston team that came in and beat them pretty good at home, they were kind of on a roll as well, beating up on some teams, Charlotte, Sacramento. They beat Houston in the first meeting between the two this week, and then lost the second meeting, a little revenge. And they also beat Orlando here. So Denver does kind of dominate this series. And if Utah's a little bit shorthanded here, I don't know if I mind maybe going to the Nuggets here, even though the Jazz are covering some numbers. I know they're pretty popular here, but still just 4-7 ATS on the road. They're better at home. A lot of people say they're better on the road. That's not the case according to the numbers, but they are 13-10 as an underdog still. Denver 14-9 against the spread as a favorite. So, as far as the total is concerned, I think the game flow with these two. I mean, how can it not be a high scoring game? Yeah, you're missing a key scorer in Markkanen, but man, 248. Oh gosh. 249 here, even at some spots. It is going to be pretty close to that. Both teams have gone over in 8 of their last 10. They're 36-18 to the over this season. 2/3 of all games played between these two teams individually have gone over this season. Denver 16-7 to the over as a favorite. Utah 15-8 to the over as a dog. They're going to give up a lot of points here. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to say go over 250 here. Let me even update it on the screen there because it's not 246.5. It might be 249. And I'm going to go over in this one, looking for a little attention out there. I'll say go over 249 in this one between the Jazz and the Nuggets here. All right, and let's see here with the you guys and see if the chat likes anything. Okay, Jazz here. Jazz for Viral Industries. Mr. Wester's on the Jazz here. Viral says kind of a rough spot, don't you think, for the Nuggets here after playing the Rockets and losing last game. Jazz points first half and full game for LALV. Hector says, how many games left? He's getting worried here. I know we're down to the last 3 after this. Jokic to nail the threes. Greg says Denver here does clobber him, but he says real close to the spread, and he's leaning to the under. Jazz to cover for Cal Dog. Zach likes the Jazz. You guys like the Jazz, man. And then Viral says once they're out of here, they got to go to Dallas. But who is Dallas after all? Okay, I'm going to take the over with the Jazz and the Nuggets. And do we have one more there? Markkanen, yeah, he plays when he wants to, it seems like. Why does this guy have so much load management? Greg says it is a candidate for a blowout. If the Jazz cover, it's going over, says LALV. Grizzlies and Thunder here in this one on Monday night. We got another big spread, but that's okay. We'll take whatever we can get here. Got the Thunder coming in 25-3, but man, they've lost 2 of 3. Oh no, this is it, man. The Thunder, what a slump. Grizzlies come in here with a record of 13-15. They've won 2 of 3 coming in. They beat the Clippers. They beat Minnesota handily. They did lose at home to Washington in a bit of a stunner. We know the Grizz are inconsistent sometimes like that. For OKC, meanwhile, look, they lost to San Antonio, of course, in the big game there, and they were laying 10.5 and lost there. Also, they lost to Minnesota last time out on the road. That was a really good game, actually. I would take that series in the playoffs a little bit. See, somebody's got to take on the Thunder anyway. Thought Minnesota gave them a heck of a time in those purple uniforms, those Prince uniforms there. But look, the Thunder here still big favorite. Total 229.5 up from 227.5. I think that's maybe what's got my attention. I know that this matchup is pretty much an under matchup in the last 2 games. In fact, they played 114-100. OKC got the win at Memphis back about a month and a half ago, but I see this one as an over. The total's already moved up 2.5 points in this one. OKC's dominance straight up and against the spread in this series is pretty noticeable as well. They've kind of dominated the series. They're not covering them all. In fact, Memphis covered the two of the three previous meetings here at home. But I'm going to go another over here at 229.5. Give me the over with Memphis and Oklahoma City here on Monday night. Go to the chat with you guys in this one. And let's see what you got. Viral says, is Edie back? No. See if I can get his complete status here right now. But it's a no timeline. Ja is out in this one. Vince Williams out as well. Brandon Clark is out. Chet Holmgren is questionable for the Thunder. Caruso questionable as well. Hartenstein is out. Forward Jalen Williams is out as well. So missing pieces here for both teams. Give me over 229.5. All right, and we got a few more comments on this one. OKC money line here for Hector. OKC covers for Viral. And maybe Timmy Chusher's going to hammer OKC here in this one. Greg, though, I think he prefers the Grizzlies here. Can Memphis get? I think they do. I think this one is an over game tonight. Grizzlies first half, and Thunder full game. So hope you get paid more for that. Zach is on OKC. Got two more here in the NBA on Monday night. The Orlando Magic are going to take on the Golden State Warriors here at San Francisco at the Chase Center. Golden State picked up a win last time out. It snapped a 3-game losing streak and a revenge win over Phoenix, 119-116. They didn't cover. They failed to cover right now in 4 straight. Talking about the Golden State Warriors, just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. Orlando, meanwhile, has failed in 3 straight, but they're coming in off of a win over Utah last time out as a 7.5-point favorite. They won by 1. It's tough to win on the road here, but look, in this series, the Warriors are going to be tough to back, I would think, here as a favorite. They're 8-11 ATS, and Orlando maybe showing a penchant for staying in. These two teams met in Orlando, and Orlando won it 121-113 as a 2.5-point dog. So why wouldn't they be able to hang here? That snapped a losing streak to the Warriors as Orlando finally busted through against these guys. Warriors have kind of had their number a little bit, long-term dominance, really. But Golden State here, I think in some of these non-conference games, the interest wanes a little bit and ends up being kind of a lower-scoring game. But Orlando is 6-2 to the over as a dog. Golden State's 12-7 to the over as a favorite. I'm going to take Orlando here in this one, though, against Golden State. I'm not sure about maybe their ability to put them away necessarily. Like I said, Orlando got the win. Franz Wagner is out still here. De Silva, questionable. Suggs, doubtful. And that's pretty much it for the short-term injury report. Big Al's still out for Golden State, but I'm going to take the Magic here plus the points against Golden State here on Monday night. And we'll go to the chat, see what they have in this one. We've got Magic for Zach. And Timmy says we got the heavyweight matchup here coming. Greg here, I think he likes the dog as well. Mr. Weskers likes the Warriors, though. Hector says give him Orlando. Mr. Weskers will lay the spread. LALV's on the over. Greg says the Warriors will win, but the Magic will cover. And maybe even a little money line for Greg. All right, one more game in the NBA here on Monday night. And it'll be the Pistons taking on the Trailblazers here. Pistons coming in 22-6, riding high right now. Still things going well. Yeah, they dropped one the other night to Dallas, but then came back and beat Charlotte at home. And then they head right back out on the road here up to the Northwest to take on Portland. Feels a little bit tricky there on the travel, huh? Portland's coming off that loss last night to Sacramento, or the other night to Sacramento. They beat Sacramento, sorry, 98-93. They swept a 2-game set home and home with the Kings, although they split against the money. Portland did get the cover on the road, but failed to cover at home. Portland is 13-4 against the spread as an underdog this season. That's pretty good. Detroit 11-11 ATS is a favorite, 7-6 ATS on the road. Portland's where they want to be in this type of situation, even though they're just 5-6 straight up at home. Portland's 8-3 to the over at home. Detroit is 5-8 to the under on the road. However, Detroit, they've struggled in this matchup long term against these guys, covering the numbers, but all of a sudden they've won 4 straight in the series, still failed to cover in 2 of the last 3. We know these guys are on another level here right now, talking about the Detroit Pistons are still rolling here. Portland, meanwhile, 3 straight victories right now over Golden State, as well as those 2 games against the Kings. So Portland continues to have some high-scoring games at home, but Detroit's defense has obviously been improved this season. In this one, I got to take the Portland Trailblazers plus the points at home against the Pistons. And we'll see what you guys have. That's the last game of the NBA card. Appreciate it. Blazers maybe here for LALB. Hector likes Detroit on the money line. Timmy liking the over here in this one. I mentioned those over trends. I don't know if I can get there on this over, actually. We'll see, but they did just play back 17 days ago when it was 122-116. Detroit got that win at home. And Greg here, he says 120-115. And Hector says the Blazers aren't going to beat Detroit, but I'll take them plus the points. That's it for the NBA card. I'm going to go to the college ranks now, and hopefully this card will be okay. I had trouble deciding what games maybe to preview here with these matchups, because there really isn't, I got to say, there's really one good game, or I'll say it like that, but let's go to the matchups here. I'm going to start it off with, I'm going to the night card here. I know there's some day games, but they really are marginal. There's some afternoon games here. This was not too great, but I got to talk a little IU basketball right now here. Coming into this week, you got Indiana here, a pretty big favorite, 23.5 total, 143 in this one against the Siena Saints. So IU, what can you say, man? The IU used to be a basketball school until now, but still, you got Siena coming in here 9-3. I think that's why, 23-point spread. But look, Siena's done a pretty good job. They've just snapped their winning streak last time out in a loss at Vermont, 89-83. They failed to cover there, but they covered against Canisius at home. They covered against Niagara. They beat Maine. They hammered American. I get it. Easy schedule, no doubt, but they're winning ththese games at least. They're 4-2 ATS on the road. Meanwhile, IU 6-2 against the spread. As a favorite, Indiana has not been covering numbers. They just were favored by 36 over measly Chicago State and could only win by 20. They lost to Kentucky. They did win and cover against Penn State in a blowout in league play, but they lost to Louisville. They lost to Minnesota. It hasn't been a great run here right now for Indiana, despite a solid record here also at 9-3 coming into this one. So, all right, we'll see if the chat is okay with this game. Me picking this game for us to preview here. Night moves. And we'll get the picks from you here as well in the chat. IU definitely strong at home here. I mean, they don't lose usually at this point, and real good so far again at home so far. We just got to lay a big number. They're 8-0 so far this season straight up, but 23.5 point favorite. See if the chat likes anything here. Siena 4-8 to the under so far this season. Okay. Here is, can Siena get the back door, says Timmy. Siena for Mr. Weskers. Greg likes Indiana here by 2, to cover the spread by 2. And he likes it slightly over. Timmy says Indy in the first half. Siena here for LALV. Maybe the Indiana money line can get done. Penn State. Oh God, did you see that game? It was a blowout there yesterday. Greg, Pitt. It was Pitt that clobbered him, right? That ended up being a strange game. Greg says Indiana will still blow these Siena Saints out of the water. All right, maybe they will. I'm going to try Siena here. Indiana not getting it done with some of these big numbers right now, so I'm going to try to go against them one more time here. They couldn't. Like I said, they did cover 14.5. They couldn't cover 36.5. Let's see what happens taking on a 9-3 Saints team. Next up, this is the highlight. I think the highlight game of the night here. Again, you'll be watching football by here, but keep an eye on this one with Illinois taking on Missouri here on Monday night. Got an Illinois team coming in here 8-3 right now, ranked 18th in the country. Missouri's 10-2. They've won 2 in a row with victories over I think they played Alabama State and then Bethune-Cookman. They weren't covering any big numbers, but they are underdog here, of course, to Illinois. Illinois just lost to Nebraska, 83-80. They did win and cover against Ohio State. They won and covered against Tennessee, lost to Connecticut. Didn't cover against Rio Grande Valley. Still laying 9 here at a neutral venue. Yeah, it's in St. Louis, but this might be a little bit there'll be some Illini fans there for sure in this one. Got 2 teams kind of going under here so far, 9-14 combined to the under so far this season. See if you guys have any predictions here with this matchup between Illinois and Missouri here in St. Louis tonight. Go to the chat and see what you have between these two. And then I'll make my pick as well. All right, it's going to be Greg says he likes Missouri to cover this one, and I think he likes it over. LALV likes the over here. And Hector says he likes Missouri on the money line here. Yeah, Missouri, they haven't been a great cover this year, but Illinois really isn't impressing anybody with their spread record right now. And look, Missouri's got a pretty good team, pretty good record here anyway at 10-2. I wouldn't say they've got a pretty easy schedule. I mean, their 2 losses are to Kansas and Notre Dame. The other teams, you know what? It's not quite the schedule that Illinois has been playing. But I'm going to go ahead and take Missouri anyways. Give me Missouri +9 against Illinois here on Monday night. All right, Northern Iowa is going to take on St. Mary's here in this one in Moraga. St. Mary's a 12-point favorite, total 132 in this one for St. Mary's here. This one opened as low as 10.5. The total also opened way back at 126.5. We've seen a pretty sharp move between these two, but I know where I'm headed here with this one. I want to hear from you in the chat anyway, with St. Mary's here as a big favorite, but Look, Northern Iowa's a interesting team this year, decent program right now. They come in here 9-2. Yeah, they're going up against big bad St. Mary's here, but they have covered their last two wins over Illinois, Chicago, and Oakland. Did lose and fail against Tulsa and Wichita. Right now, they are 6-4 ATS overall. Northern Iowa, St. Mary's also 6-4 ATS as a favorite coming into this one. So look, Northern Iowa's got an interesting team here. Yes, St. Mary's always strong, especially at home. But I think Northern Iowa's defense shouldn't be overlooked in this game. Northern Iowa's 2-8 to the under so far this season. That might dictate how this one is actually going to go. So I'm going to take Northern Iowa here plus the points. I mean, that total at 132, it might be getting away. Actually, I don't know if it's going to get to 132. Like I said, the send out, I believe, was 126.5. I mean, that seemed more realistic for this matchup, actually. I'd be more interested in maybe the under as well. But let me take Northern Iowa here plus the points in this one. These two teams met 5 years ago at St. Mary's. St. Mary's won 66-64. The programs weren't much different than they are now, other than the players. St. Mary's here for LALB. Also, Greg here, he likes Northern Iowa. And LALB, he says he's giving us a score on that one. Timmy says these guys can play, but I'm still got to take St. Mary's. All right. Yep, St. Mary's is at home where they're so good, no doubt. Northern Iowa is decent, says Greg. Don't sleep on these guys. Yeah, no, look, St. Mary's has played a considerably better schedule so far. They played some decent teams here overall. Like I said, let's see, they beat Davidson. They beat Virginia Tech. They lost to Vandy. Got blown out by Vandy. Lost to Boise. Lost to FAU. All right, I got one more here. Let me see. Do I have one more? Yeah, I do. It'll be my San Diego Toreros going up against the Washington Huskies here in Seattle at the Heck. Washington's won 2 of its last 3. USD is coming off a huge win over UCSD, a major upset. They were 12.5-point dogs, came back to beat the Tritons. The Tritons had been, they had moved past USD. UCSD just came into Division I a few years ago. They were terrific as a smaller school, and of course they had a little bit of a run in the NCAA tournament last year. But for USD, which has really had problems getting anything going here with Lavin, that was a pretty big win. That was one of their biggest wins. They've won 2 straight, covered 3 straight right now. They covered against USC. They won and covered against NAU. Washington, meanwhile, just saw them lose the other night at Seattle. Actually, it was at Climate Pledge. They played a neutral site game. Seattle won the game 70-66. Washington won and covered against Southern Utah. They also won and covered against USC, so a little bit of a common opponent there. Like I said, Washington won at USC 84-76. USD lost at home to USC 94-81. So maybe that does a little something for you. There, USC went in and beat USD. Washington's 4-2 against the spread at home. These two teams kind of trend over, especially venue specific. Washington 5-1 to the over at home. USD 3-0 to the over on the road. So, look, I think Washington here, that's a pretty big number. I'm not going to mess around, I don't think, with that. I think the recent pace we've seen from these two teams as well. USD's been going over here. That UCSD game was 164 points for an over. The over against USC, 175. Went way over 159. They went over against San Jose, 155. It was 143. Washington, same thing. They had gone over in 3 of their last 4, scoring 105 against Southern Utah. I got to go over tonight. 156 with USD and Washington. All right, those are the college games that I've selected there to look at. And see if you guys have a comment in that last game. Vandy does blast everyone. LALV for SD for LALV likes SD. Mr. Wesker's liking USD as well. And let's see here. Timmy Chushu says, Washington after losing that Seattle game, maybe they can bounce back. Greg here though likes USD. Mr. Just a good win for USD because they really. I kind of felt like when Lavin came in here to take over the Toreros that he was just kind of look, USD, Mr. Wesker knows USD is a beautiful place up there in Alcala Park, beautiful campus, really everything that you could really want to go to a private, Catholic school, but except the athletic program. No, they've had their moments. Hey, I remember one night I was watching them play Gonzaga in the WCC championship. Yeah, was I in a hotel in Tijuana? A hotel room in Tijuana? Yeah, I might have been. I want to tell you about that, but I remember that game. I remember the game when the USD one time beat Gonzaga. That was something special. Man, that must have been 25 years ago or more. Maybe 20, maybe. Yeah, maybe. All right. And let's move on here to the hockey card tonight. I got 4 games to look at with you here, and then we'll get on out of here. Thank you for joining me on Night Moves. 4-game card here with the St. Louis Blues on the road taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I've got a rough spread here for sure with this one. Tampa Bay 19-13-3. They've lost 3 of their last 4, but they come in off of a win here over Carolina 6-4 last time out to snap a 3-game losing streak to the Islanders, Florida, and LA. St. Louis, meanwhile, they've played pretty well here of late. They've won 2 of their last 3. They beat Winnipeg 1-0 at home. Lost to the Rangers 2-1. They played pretty well in that game. Then they beat up on Florida 6-2. St. Louis, pretty good underdog, 16-9 straight up as an underdog. And Tampa Bay just 14-14 as a favorite. 8-20 as a puck line favorite. St. Louis 17-4 as a puck line underdog. I know the Sharps are going to want to lay it here, I would think, with the Lightning, but I think just the fact that Tampa Bay really not getting a lot of 2-goal victories, it feels like so far this season, maybe St. Louis here. They are $1.40 on the puck line tonight, and I kind of want to try them here. Maybe the series history doesn't really bode that well for them. They usually win at home and lose on the road in this series. It's almost automatic, but they only meet a couple of times a year, so maybe you can throw that out a little bit. But as far as the matchup here tonight is concerned, I mean, Tampa Bay, it's not exactly terrific form here of late for the Lightning with those 3 straight losses. So they often go over, especially when they play here. Like I said, in Tampa, where Tampa usually wins, it's usually a higher scoring game, actually. And yes, Tampa right now, 10-8 to the over, but St. Louis 7-14 to the under as a dog. Yeah, let me try St. Louis here on the puck line, and I have a feeling that if they can just keep it here in the 3-2 range, that's probably where it's going to be. I'll take St. Louis in this one. And we got some comments in the chat. It's going to be the Lightning here for Mr. Westers. Timothy Hawk is here. Must be hockey time. He's going to lay it with the Lightning. Hector says over. And Mr. Zach Rossi says Tampa Bay in regulation. LALB likes the over. And Hector says Blues and Tampa on fire. Tampa better roll them. Blues have their fun versus Florida. Tampa to roll, says Timmy. There's the score I said. Greg likes it too. 3-2. All right. Okay. Let's go to the next one here on Monday night. Vancouver Canucks take on the Philadelphia Flyers. NHL action for Monday. Vancouver's hot. They're hot, 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 man. Vancouver, 4 straight wins over New Jersey, the Rangers, the Islanders, the Boston Bruins. They've come up here to the Northeast and basically took all the money for 4 straight games. They've been covering the puck line as well here of late in against Buffalo. Before that, they're 11-7 on the road this year. Now Philly's a great favorite, 7-2 this season as a favorite. $1.35 favorite here in this one. But man, Vancouver with this hot streak, Philadelphia has actually been uh, losing here of late. They've been losing some close games. Give them credit. Lost to the Rangers 5-4 on the road. They were on a road trip. Lost to Buffalo on the road. Did beat Montreal, but lost back-to-back games against Carolina. They just haven't been terrific here of late. In Vancouver, like I said, doing well at this point. Vancouver's already come in, or Vancouver came in and beat Philadelphia last year in the meeting here 3-0. See what you guys have in the chat in this one, but I don't know. It does feel like here Vancouver is playing better hockey overall, and the Flyers, yeah, I think they've struggled a bit at home of late. They are 10-5 overall, but home loss to Carolina, nothing wrong with that last time out. I think also under could be the way to look here. You have a Philly team that is 3-6 to the under as a favorite. And this series is a little bit of an under, but again, haven't met yet this year. So give me Vancouver to win this one on the road. I'll take them to stay hot, and I'll take Vancouver to win here over Philly on Monday night. All right, let's see what we got here. Zach is on the Canucks. Flyers puck line for Hector. Can't like that price, he says. And Hector says, you got to do football, then the NHL. All right, let's see here. Flyers end the streak there a little bit. What else? Kane to get a goal. LALB on the under. Timothy Hawks on the Canucks. Thank you, Timothy. Hector says Vancouver are spanking all those East Coast teams, aren't they? Man, they've had a good run here. Yeah, I might lean the under, but let me go with Bank. Kraken on the road, taking on the Ducks here. You got a Kraken team that finally snapped their losing streak last time out, beat San Jose 4-2 on the road. They were struggling for sure. They're just 10-18 as an underdog this season. Anaheim, meanwhile, still looking good. Yeah, they've lost a couple here for sure. Lost 2 of their last 3. Lost to Columbus, but then did get revenge. They also lost to Dallas. Here, pretty big favorite for Anaheim at $1.85. This one's a little bit tricky. Anaheim, though, automatic on these overs. It feels like at home right now. They're also 10-1 to the over as a favorite. Even though Seattle trends to the under, they're 9-7 to the over as a favorite. I gotta think this one's an over city. Despite the 6.5 here, I probably want to take the over in this one. Primary home, Anaheim's home games, like 8 straight at home to the over right now. 12-5 to the over overall at home. So I got to go with the over here with Seattle and Anaheim on Monday night. Seattle maybe in a slump here, but they've had success against Anaheim. They beat them here last year 5-2 and 3-1. The teams did meet once this year in Seattle. It was 3-1. Seattle won at home. I'm going over, though, in this one. Maybe some comments from you guys. We're getting ready for the end of the show here. Oh, man. Just when we got a few dozen of you here joining me on Night Moves, the show's almost over. But we got a great week here, even a little bit of a respite. Maybe don't show up on Wednesday night, huh? We got on, or I should say, what night is it? Tuesday night. whatever night it is on Tuesday night. I mean, there are basically one game on Wednesday in all of sports. So maybe Ramon can kind of take a day off and catch you back here on the next one. Maybe I'll do a video on the game. Everyone's going to be picking the Hawaii Bowl. All right, here we go. Ducks in regulation for Timothy. Greg says the Kraken keeps rolling. Hector says he's going to go with Seattle here. Maybe the Ducks are the right side, but $1.85. What are you going to do? You really want to take a big $1.85 with this? As good as the Ducks have been. All right, Timothy with a goal prop in there. LALV liking the Ducks. And Hector says Seattle beats up on those young teams. LALV liking the over. Zach is on the Ducks. And let's see what else. Eberle for the Kraken. Timothy here talking about, look, right, Tim? I mean, when you're 10-1 as a favorite and you're a big favorite, doesn't that maybe lean to why they should be favored? And like I said, I think when you look at Seattle here, a team that's 14-19 to the under this season, 9-7 to the over on the road. So, a home maybe. I want to say hello to Jamal Giuseppe. Man, Jamal, it's great to have you. He likes Seattle. Jamal Giuseppe is in the chat, everybody. Hello, Jamal. Great to see you. All right, cracking up for Greg. All right. Hey, I got one more here on Monday night, the last game of our show. The Blue Jackets are coming in to take on the Kings. Blue Jackets 14-15-6. Kings are struggling, but they finally won last time out to snap a losing streak. They beat Tampa 2-1 here. They were having some issues here right now. This has been the roughest patch, it feels like, for the Kings here. Columbus isn't doing too great either. They've lost 2 in a row here to Florida, to Minnesota and Anaheim. The Anaheim loss was in revenge, and they had beat Anaheim a few days earlier. Then, like I said, lost to Minnesota, lost to BGK, and lost to Ottawa. Ottawa and Buffalo are the hottest things going. We didn't even talk about them tonight. Columbus just 6-19 as an underdog this season. The Kings are not great favorites, 10-12 as a favorite. Look, this isn't a horrible matchup, I don't think, for Columbus. Columbus is 11-8 to the over on the road. The Kings just 4-10 to the under at home here, and we'll see. The total here is 5.5 under 20. So Columbus did beat the Kings last time they met. It was back in January at home, 3-2. It did end a losing streak to LA for Columbus. I'm taking Columbus here as a dog. Give me the Jackets to upset the Kings at plus money on Monday night. All right, and I'm agreeing with Hector. He said, take the Blue Jackets, huh? Greg, though, liking the Kings. Hector says Blue Jackets going to score 4 in this one. LALB, Kings money line. Timmy Chushu likes Spogeli to score. Greg says got to be an under here. I agree with that. Zach says Columbus as well. First period under for LALB. Both teams struggling to score. And Jamal's here. He's making another pick and the show's over. We got to make some games up just for Jamal. Timothy Hawk says take the Kings, maybe with the Werenski possibly out of this game. So big injury news there. But I don't know. I thought, let's see here. Underfull game for LALB. Yeah, I don't know about the Werenski injury there right now, but all right, give me the Jackets here, and I like that under. All right, I guess that's it for Night Moves. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Hey, head on over to Tony'sPicks.com and check out our best bets over there at Tony's Picks. You can use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 15% off all of our premium pick packages, including mine. Here on Monday night, I'll be having props in the NFL, and we'll play a little college basketball, I believe, as well here on the card. So join me over at Tony'sPicks.com. Check out the handicapper leaderboards and see who's out. There's Tony's previews as well there. And let's see what else. Let's go to the home. Is it the home? There we go. Check out the handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot. And that's how you get signed up. You can see our hot handicappers from the NFL day here on Sunday. Oh, it was DeAndre. DeAndre went 3-0. He didn't come in to tell us all about it. Let's check and see what DeAndre is up to. He's got his Monday best bet up there. Who'd he have? Oh, look, DeAndre's on a roll right now. 5 straight wins. He had the Patriots over the Ravens. He had the Panthers over the Bucks, and he had the Cleveland Browns. I had the Browns as well as a premium there on Sunday. Great job, DeAndre. Who else was up there? We saw the Chris 3-0 in there. Steve Duncan 6-3. Look at Mills 4-8. He still comes up with a profit because he hit a big, I think, prop in there. Great job, Mills. Maybe it was a money line. Over 7 days, Mr. Higgs looking pretty good there. 70% this past week. Ron Crawford up nearly a nickel. Doubles is up there as well. Last 30 days. Justin's over 16 units. Al Ninos is in the green. Join me over at Tony'sPicks.com and use that promo code Tony T at checkout. Click on the All Cappers tab. That's where you'll find the list of our handicappers. Click on their handicapper profile page, and that's how you get signed up. And I'll have my picks over there. Hey, I'm in the profit there over the last 24 hours. It says there some winners last night included there with Mac. I took Mac Collins and his yardage over. I had the Steelers and the Lions over. There's the Browns pick as well. I had the under in the Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. And oh yeah, I got a job there a little bit with the Giants. It wasn't a job, but what am I doing picking the Giants? Anyway, they almost hung in there, lost just 16-13 there, and didn't hit with Keyshawn Shake Your Booty. All right, that's going to do it here for Night Moves. Really appreciate it. Be back tomorrow. And then we will. I think we'll take one day off and catch our breath here for the holidays. So really appreciate it. There it is. Use the promo code Tony T at checkout. Save 15% off all premium pick packages, including mine. Really happy to have you here tonight. Jamal, thank you. He says parlay the Jackets with the over in the Jazz versus Nuggets game. LALB says he's got a West up parlay here. Ducks money line with the first period Kings game right there. Zach, thank you. Take care. We'll come back and do it one more day here as well, and be back here. Don't forget, join the gang here. Tony will have his panel on the morning show, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific. Also, join Rod with the happy hour, 5 Eastern and 2 Pacific, and Vegas Al's got you covered with the Look Ahead show at midnight Eastern and 9 Pacific. Then I'll be right back here with Night Moves for the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, the 60,000 subscriber juggernaut. This is Ramon Scott. So long from Night Moves.